Hello, friends. Today's story is named Best Friend. The Delhi airport was huge, cold, and very busy. People were rushing everywhere with their luggage. Arnab was sitting near gate 2, waiting for his flight to Bangalore. His eyes glued to his phone, checking the constant inflow of emails and WhatsApp messages at regular intervals. Excuse me, is this it taken? The voice was deep, but it had a familiar, rhythmic lilt. Arnab looked up, ready to give a polite nod, but somehow the words died in his throat. The man standing there was wearing a sharp linen blazer, his hair peppered with grey at the temples. But the eyes, wide and mischievous, belonged to a boy whom he knew very well almost 30 years before. Sayan? Arnab asked, his voice shaking a little. The man stared at Arnab. He looked at his face, searching for something. Then, his eyes went wide. A huge smile broke across his face. Arnab, he said, really, you? They both stood up at the same time and hugged each other tightly. For a moment, they weren't two middle-aged men in a busy airport. They felt they were once again the two teenage boys in school uniforms again. I can't believe it, son, as they walked towards a coffee shop. Since 1998, we haven't spoken since our school results came out. 28 years, Sayan, Arnab said, shaking his head. How did we let so much time to pass? They sat down with 2 cups of coffee at a nearby outlet. You have changed, man, Sayan laughed, leaning back. You look like a CEO. Where is the boy who used to wear his school tie as a headband during cricket matches? He's buried under a mortgage and back pain, Arnab choked, though his eyes were misty. Do you remember our gully cricket matches? Sahin asked with a laugh. In that narrow lane behind the post office? We only had one wooden bat and it was held together with a tape. Do you remember? And the rules? Arnab joined in. If you hit the ball into Mr. Chatterjee's garden, you were out automatically, and nobody wanted to go inside to get the ball because he had that scary Doberman. I remember you once climbed his wall, Sayan reminded him. You ripped your school pants and you were so scared of your mother that you stayed at our house until evening. We all tried to fix the hole with a stapler. They laughed so hard that Arnab almost spilled his coffee. It was as if they had just seen each other yesterday. Hey, do you remember Professor Calculus, our maths teacher? Amal Biswas, the one with the pointed beard? Arnab asked excitedly. Yeah, whom we named after the character from Tintin comics. In fact, we named many of our teachers from the characters of the popular comics characters back then. Sayan reminded him. Both laughed. It was as if they were teleported back in the 90s. The conversation flowed like a river finding its old course. They spoke of their school, a grand decaying colonial structure where they had spent more time planning escapes than studying theorems. Hey, do you remember the stink bomb incident in the staff room? Sayan asked, nudging Arnab. I remember you making me hold the door while you sneaked in, Arnab encountered. The look on the economics teacher's face when he walked into that cloud of rotten egg smell. I still think that's why I failed my midterms that year. Pure karmic retribution, man. And the time we changed the labels on the chemical labs? Sayan added, his eyes dancing with the same mischief of a 15-year-old. We weren't bad kids, Arnab. We were just over-enthusiastic about life. The laughter eventually quieted into a heavy, comfortable silence. The airport announcements droned on in the background, but For a moment, they were back in the 1998, the year they had finished the school. "Did you ever hear from Sharmishta?" Arnab asked tentatively. Sayan's expression softened, a shadow of an old ache crossing his face. "No, after she had moved to Kolkata, the landline numbers changed. I didn't have her new address. I spent a whole month writing a letter. I didn't know what to do, where to post the letter. We were the last generation of the wait," Arnab mused. "Now you just look someone up on Facebook or Instagram. But back then, if you didn't have a piece of paper with an address, that person just vanished into the mist." "I loved her, Sayan said quietly, in that innocent 90s way. Just watching her cycle past the tuition center was enough to make my week. My son has a girlfriend now, and they gossip every hour over the smartphones. But he will never know the magic of a 5-minute conversation on a PCO booth while your heart beats louder than the traffic." There was a subtle silence between the two. Final boarding call for flight AI 2545 to Ahmedabad. Sayan looked at his watch and sighed. "That's me, dude. Duty calls." Arnab stood up, feeling a strange sense of loss, as if the 90s were slipping through his fingers all over again. "I'm too heading to Bangalore in 20 minutes, man. Back to the spreadsheets." He felt a heavy feeling in his chest. He didn't want the conversation to end. They had so much more to say about the old neighborhood, about their old friends, about their dreams that had changed over time. They stood in front of the gate, two men who had shared their entire childhood and then nothing at all for 28 years. They didn't exchange business cards. They simply took out their phone, took a selfie and saved each other's numbers. Arnab saving Sayan as best friend Sayan. Sayan started walking towards the gate. After a few steps, he turned back and shouted, "Hey Arnab, I think I still was a better bowler than you." Arnab laughed and waved his hand. "In your dreams, Sayan, in your dreams." Arnab watched him disappear through the jet bridge. He sat back down, looking out the window at the planes taking off, thinking about the dusty playground in a small industrial town back then in the 90s, communist Bengal. Thank you.